A Tale of Two Hygienists presents this week's TIPisode, quick and easy tips to keep you up to date and presented by the experts in the profession. Now, get ready for your unofficial TIPisode.
Hello again, everyone. This is Andrew, and I am so excited to be giving you this week's TIPisode. I think that since this is the end of the year, so I'll do my best. I'm going to keep this episode a little bit lighter, hopefully a little casual, hopefully a little helpful. I have several points that I want to talk about today, but I know that we're all stressed. And I was thinking today, our job is very stressful, but have you ever thought about the labs and how they must feel during this every case is a rush case scenario, every crown, every bridge, everything has to be seated before the end of the year, or otherwise the insurance isn't going to pay for it, but then the patient didn't come in late. I bet they just get tons and tons of phone calls pushing for the cases to be moved up to the top of the queue. And then on top of all that, of course, then they have the stressors that the rest of us have, right? They go home, there's this holiday stress, this thing that we all feel during this time. Even though this is a time that we love, it's also a time that sometimes can get a little bit, hey, did we invite that person to this family event? Did we forget to invite them? Are the in-laws in town? Are the kids getting the right presents? Are they going to be upset about the presents that they got? And it goes on. But I just thought about stress. There's so much stress that comes into it. I think one of the things is we're not great planners sometimes. Now, holiday stress is something that you can never really account for. And I think this end of year stress, the way we feel it and the way the labs feel it is because the patients didn't really plan for their times, right? So I want to talk about maybe some things that we can do as we finish up this year, and maybe some things that we can do going into next year so that we have a more productive year, maybe hopefully a little bit less stressful. And, these are things that I've been thinking about for my hygienists that work with me that will translate over maybe to what you do in practice. So I want to start off by repeating a kind of a common theme that we've been using throughout the years as we do this. And this is to plan your events for the upcoming year. So probably you'll have this weekend and maybe next weekend are going to be long weekends for you, I'm hoping. So this is a good time to look ahead and plan for these things. Plan a vacation. What does that vacation look like? Does it involve anyone else? I've seen what feels like a record high of people this year taking solo vacations. It's not selfish. And I think that there's a layer of freedom and learning that comes when you travel alone. But maybe your vacation involves friends or family or your partner. Get a plan for this. And so now where would your vacation be? And what part of the year would it be in? Is this going to be a staycation? Are you going camping? Are you hiking? Are you staying relatively local, or are you doing maybe across the country or maybe international? Are you escaping the cold, in the early part of the year or the end of the year, and headed south? What kind of activities are you going to be doing? What are your plans for staying safe through all of these things, right? So I feel like planning a vacation and then prioritizing a vacation is huge for our mental health and our sanity. And of course, there are dental shows that you could travel to. You could piggyback a vacation with some dental learning. It's one of our favorite things to do. In August of next year, in August 2022, the International Federation of Dental Hygienists is going to hold its International Symposium on Dental Hygiene. The event is, I think it's every 2 years, starting after 2022. So the next one that will be held in 2022 is going to be in Dublin, Ireland. And we've joked on the podcast before. Michelle and I have joked kind of, not really joking, but kind of joking. I think we're going to try and rent a castle. And we're going to rent a castle for maybe a night or 2 nights. We're going to invite all of our friends to rent it with us. It sounds like a really enjoyable, quick getaway. And then, hey, we're going to head to the conference. If that doesn't interest you, there's so many things to do in Dublin. There's so many things to do in Ireland as a whole. I think it would make for a great getaway. The cost of the conference itself, I think it said 445 euros for an early bird and maybe 500 euros or something around there for the standard cost. And then there's going to be a late registration fee as well. But 445 euros is about $500, which is pretty comparable to other conferences. Additionally, if you want to get away, but Dublin doesn't sound like what you want to do, there's another international event in June of 2022, and that's for Europerio 10. This conference is going to be held in Copenhagen. When Michelle and I went to this one last time, it really was one of the best conferences I've ever been to. The CE was really, 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 really good. It was a little bit different. So I look at myself as being an everyday hygienist. I think that, maybe I'm not the strongest person at perio. I'm good at it, but that's not my, I don't belong working in a perio practice. Okay. And so when I go to a conference that's about perio, I need to be able to relate to the information. I don't necessarily remember everything from the board prep courses that I took a long time ago about all the different things that you have to know about periodontal disease. And so when I went to this conference, they were able to relate the information to me as an everyday hygienist in a way that I've never had taught to me before. And I really, really appreciate it. So for example, I took a class that was about an hour long and there were 2 speakers. Each of them had to do about 30 minutes, if I recall properly. And they spoke on athletes and the prevalence of periodontal disease. And more importantly, I think for me, at least, again, getting that relatability for me is the causative factors of periodontal disease and the interventions that can be done for these athletes. They had case studies. They had just really relevant information. It was truly fascinating. If neither of those, if you're saying, look, I'm not going to travel outside the United States, I want to stay stateside, there's always RDH Under One Roof in Orlando next summer. Obviously, this is a really big one. I think every hygienist should go to this. I am hoping that we can get you a discount code in the future for registration because this is the premier hygiene conference in the US. It's great CE. You should be able to secure almost everything that you need for your state license just by going to this course. And then, of course, maybe a few things here and there sprinkled in. There is great networking. And when I say networking, I'm not talking about this forced, let's everyone play like this icebreaker game and really be awkward networking type situation. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about events that are held after the conference is over or the classes that are over. And you can all let your hair down and relax and mingle. And if you want to meet the movers and the shakers of the dental industry, sure, they're going to be there. They're accessible to you. They're having a good time too. Meet with them if you want. But if you don't want that, well, then just sip your drink, listen to the music, or get up and dance and have a good time. And then finally, kind of in this realm of like traveling and planning for travel, if you are planning on doing a dental mission trip, the world is opening back up. And we're getting a better handle on how to handle this COVID virus, and life needs to go on. I received an email actually just this morning before I recorded this podcast from our friends over at Somos Amigos, and they're welcoming volunteers again to the Dominican Republic for next year for 2022. If you've been there before, then I believe that you're able to get there's some limited slots in the January event. But for newcomers, you're going to be welcomed in April, starting in April of 2022. And I think they're going to be having 2 more, or historically they've had 4 events or 4 trips every year. So, April, and then I think June or July, and then October. And so you all know how much I love them. I love what they're doing. It's a great organization. So please consider them if you're going to be doing any volunteer work this year, especially if it's international volunteer work. So on a different note, I think starting off 2022 with some spring cleaning would be really helpful to kind of frame the new year, a rebirth of sorts, a time to symbolically let go of the past, start with a clean slate. Some things to ponder. And this is going to sound like it's going to be a little bit naggy or a little bit nitpicky, and I apologize for that. But here are the things that we need to be thinking about, because sometimes we just go in and we just do, right? We go into our practice, we just do, and we don't always take the time to think about the other things. So we need to check our traps. Look at your hoses. Do they need to be replaced? Are they getting worn out? Are they getting too clogged? And you've tried to clean them the best you can, and they're just not getting clean. Clean the bases of your chairs. Remove the scuff marks. For some reason, everyone decides to kick the base of the chair. I don't understand what it is about the base of the chair and them kicking it, but it just is prone to getting kicked. Your sink. Get your sinks super sparkly. I feel like a lot of patients, they'll spit in there, and maybe sometimes we don't do a great job of washing it out at the end of the night, but just making sure that they're, brand new, ready to go. Our patients, when they look at that, if they see yucky stuff on there, they're going to have concerns about the office. Go over to the lab, maybe clean out the plaster trap, or get that. If you guys have those big canisters, you can get that replaced. Remove some of the stone that, I think you guys all know what I'm talking about, like the stone that has dried up and is just a little tiny dot on the counter. Let's take that off. Now's the time to clean that countertop. This is a little bit of a weird one, but does your toilet need to be replaced? The one that's like in the employee bathroom? Some of our offices I think are like decades old, right? And maybe some of the porcelain is not like, it's not leaking, but like there's like little chips or the little lines, or there's maybe the seat needs to be replaced. There's so many things that, like, just in the bathroom area, that if we replaced it, we would feel better about going into work every day. And a lot of these things don't need to be expensive. If you go and you're looking at your vanity that needs to be replaced inside of your guys' bathroom as well, a lot of these things, if you do it yourself, cost, a couple $100 at most. Home Depot, Lowe's, they have nice vanities for $100 to $200. I know Wayfair always has deals as well. I'm sure if you did a quick Amazon search that you would see some inexpensive pieces as well. Also looking to see if there are bugs in the light covers up in the ceilings. Are there cobwebs in the corner anywhere? Is there dust in the blinds? Above the door frames is a common place too, or the vent covers often collect dust. Along those same lines, it might be time to do an office or an operatory makeover? So does your chair need to be reupholstered? Does the light drift, the air water syringe leak? Are there components to your office that you've just been putting off? And like now is the time of reckoning. Do you need that new coat of paint? Does your floor in your operatory need to be like cleaned or waxed? What about the rugs or the carpets in your building? Are there stains? Do they need to be professionally cleaned? Are there lights out that need to be replaced? What about the outside? How long have you had those shrubs that look the same way? For how long have they looked the same way? What about new flowers or something to kind of spruce it up and change it up a little bit? Do a walkthrough of your office with a fresh pair of eyes. Pull up to the parking lot like you were a patient. Don't go park in the back like we always park, but go through the front door. Is the parking lot marked properly with places to park? Is the front door, is it labeled with the appropriate providers' names? Is that starting to chip or peel and does it need to be replaced? Should the font be changed out because it's just kind of like old style font? Has the front desk looked the same way for the past 20 years? What can be done there? So there's so many things that maybe a quick little makeover. And again, these things don't have to be expensive. So kind of on the same lines, but maybe a little bit different, is creating a wish list. And this is, what is it that you wish your office had? So this is a team building event, spending some time with your team and creating these lists, because it's not just about you, it's for everyone. Are you looking to upgrade your software or your hardware? Do you wish that you had a new type of instrument that you haven't tried before? Or are you noticing that the assistants in their operatories could use maybe a new tool or a new something to help them do their job more effectively? Have you heard about something? Maybe it was on the podcast, or maybe it's one of your other dental podcasts that you listen to. Maybe you saw it in a magazine. Maybe you went to a dental conference. You saw it on trade show floor. What are you seeing out there that could help the dental assistants do their job better or easier? Or same with doctor. Now that you have that wish list, though, you have to figure out, how are you going to achieve these things? How are you going to be able to pay for basically these things you added to this list? And I think it's very fair to make deals with the owner that, outside of whatever other performance bonuses you might have. And if you don't have performance bonuses, maybe this is what you do instead. But if you do have performance bonuses, this should be outside of that. And there are ways to get the items that you want while bringing something positive to the office. So maybe it's something like achieving a certain number of 5-star reviews, or maybe it's a certain number of 5-star reviews consecutively without any 4-star or below happening in between. Maybe it's referrals. If your office achieves a certain amount of referrals of like the new patients come in and they say, hey, we have a referral from an existing patient. And maybe it's a time clock thing. Maybe you all clock out on time for a certain period. Of course, pending the times that you're asked to stay late, but maybe your whole team gets certified in something, or you all take a course, or you have to master a certain procedure like scanning. Maybe you have a time frame in which you all need to be able to scan competently the whole mouth or just one arch. There's so many things that can be done that increases the profitability of a practice without directly increasing the revenue. The last thing I want to talk about is maybe a little bit of a downer. This year I saw so much bad behavior in our brothers and sisters in the hygiene community. The market finally swung our way almost across the country, and we took advantage of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're finally getting paid to the level that we should. But in some markets, though, there was an overcorrection. And because of the shortage of hygienists, not only did we make really good money, but it was almost like we were getting money thrown at us, whether it was going to be a sign-on bonus, a relocation bonus, or just our hourly wages or our salary just being really, really, really high. But even when that happened, we still behaved like we were owed something. I saw a post just this morning of a dentist that was really desperate for help in their office and was offering $85 an hour. We have been a profession that has had a chip on our shoulders for so long. I think that we might have forgot how to be grateful when something like this comes our way. If your reaction to these words that I'm saying right now is that of understanding, you're like, okay, yes, I hear what you're saying, and that's it. Well, then this message isn't for you. But if your reaction to my words is that of indignation or maybe a little bit of anger, then this message is very much specifically for you. We only have jobs when the dental profession thrives. If the market continues to do this, if we continue to make more and more money, then there are going to be some serious repercussions that are going to be coming our way, including an enhanced EFTA that none of us will be able to stop, that will be allowed to scale and will be able to take a fraction of what we get paid. There's also going to be a shortage of offices because the doctors can't keep the doors open any longer. And the job market's going to correct itself. If that happens, then there's going to be a shortage of offices and a high supply of hygienists. And that's going to drive all of our wages down. We are already seeing doctors take the hygiene department into their own hands in many cases. We need to do better as a community. We need to be kind and be grateful that we have benefited from recent circumstances, but realize what that means for our employers. Don't be entitled. Be empathetic. Be a team player, and do what you can to keep the profession healthy and alive. I am so thankful for all of you for listening to us for so many years. 2022 will be our 7th year on the air. I can't believe it. We are nothing without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, you can reach me via email, andrew@atailoftwohygienist.com. Enjoy this time with your family, and let's hit the ground running for 2022. Bye, everyone.
We hope you enjoyed this week's TIPisode. Be sure to reach out to our guest experts and let them know how helpful their tips were. Follow A Tale of Two Hygienists on Facebook, Instagram, and head over to atailoftwohygienist.com and subscribe to our newsletter. You can also email us at atailoftwohygienist@gmail.com and keep listening for more awesome content from your unofficial dental hygiene podcast.